Hello, PMN family. How have you guys been? I hope you've been fine and you're doing well. So, welcome to part two. We had promised part two, by the way, and this is part two as we deep dive and do a Q&A session and you get to know me better.
So, Paris, how did you grow up?
Wow. So, like any normal child, I grew up with my mom and my dad. But at first, we started life at Thika. And everything was perfect, fine, a good life. And until somewhere along the line, the birth didn't math. And we moved back to to Shags in Kitui. And man, everything changed because now you're used to a soft life of waking up, eating a very good breakfast. Now you're in Shags. At that time, bread was not that popular. Like you wouldn't get bread everywhere. So you can imagine now you're in Shags and everything has changed just like that. Now you have to go to a new school, which by the way used to teach Kikamba as a lesson. Back then, you don't even know Kikamba because you're coming from a school that would speak Swahili and so forth. Then we'd do counting, would have to go and cut sticks and then come and count. That is what we'd use. And now the other part is that we were learning under a tree. You see these things that people post from Turkana, kids learning under a tree? That is what we would do. So when it's windy or because you see even at our place, it's not that, it's a bit dry. So when it's windy or when it rains, that's another thing. Because now studying becomes another problem because you are under a tree. And then you have to take Kamba as a lesson. I remember sometime, there's a time I took a book from another student and then I removed the cover that had the name and then took the assignment that kid has done to my mother because the kid had passed. Not because I could not, but because it was Kikamba. So my mom would ask me, Kwani, what did you learn today? And then I would tell her, they said kaka, kuku, and I don't know what is that. So it was tough. And then understanding how to blend in with new culture. And then now everything is different. You have to go fetch water from the river. You're used to getting water from the tap, right? Then you have to go fetch water from the river. You have to fetch firewood. And then now you start rearing animals and stuff and everything. Man, it was not that easy. And now the worst happened when I got to class 2. Now here I've started understanding, school and blah, blah, blah. And then my father died. Wow. When my father died, at first I didn't understand it because I was still young. But I was still questioning. I was wondering, Kwani, where is my father? So I would ask my mom, where did my father go? And then my mom would say, your father went abroad and he'll come back. He went to buy bread. Because remember, again, I told you, at that time there was no bread. So when someone tells you they've gone to buy bread, in your head, you're like, oh, wow, that's nice. And then when you hear playing, you'll run and ask, I would run and ask mom, hey, mom, is that dad coming back from abroad? Mom would be like, no. But now something used to ring to scare me because after that, I would see my mom cry. Like she'd go into her room and then she'd start crying. I was wondering, why is it that when I ask about my dad, she starts crying? When he's abroad that bad? Later on, I got to understand that, my father is dead and he's never going to come back. And that is it. I think when reality hit me, oh man, it really hit home. Like, it really hit home. Like, this man is gone. You will never see him. And then now having to deal with the reality that, death is something that when that person is gone. He will never come back. And having to deal with that reality that you will never see him again, whether you like it or not, was very tough. And when you go to school and you play with kids and they tell you I'm going to tell my dad, and then you have no one to tell. At some point that thing would hit me. Then I'd be like, oh my God, then how do I go where will I even report? Because normally kids threaten you, I'll tell my dad. Then you have no one to report to. It was tough. Then now I went to a boarding school. You know that school that I went, the local one, it had a boarding school. So I moved to boarding from class, I think 4, 5 there. I went to boarding. Then that was another challenge. One, we had to go and fetch water from the river. You see, this notion that people have that Ukambani has no water, at some point it's very true. Because we had to go every day around 4 to the river. You fetch water. That water is the water that you'll shower, and you have to wash your own clothes. And then you'll have to wake up very early in the morning and go to morning preps. At some point, I felt like my childhood was stolen, because now I'm mingling with, other people who are bigger than me, people in class 8. And then you're like, hey, what is it? At that time, I was even bought sanitary towels. I don't even know what are these. I'm wondering what are these for. So I felt like, this was tough. So you have to go and fetch water. And now the worst part is you'll go and fetch water and then bring it, and then someone steals the water. Now the following morning, you have no water to shower. You have not washed. It was pretty tough. And then when I got to class 8, I used to be very poor in maths. I remember that our maths teacher, there's a day he called me before KCPE, right? He called me and gave me papers from class 4, mathematics papers from class 4 to class 7, just to help me understand maths. And I did the maths, and the math for me was not mathing, because this guy was like, you've been passing. Like, I'm very good with social studies, like the other subjects, perfect. When it comes to maths, nothing. But anyway, what do? It's part of life, right? So my childhood was beautiful, with ups and downs, and a lot of realities to come to terms with. I'd say that.
Okay, now Paris, I'm sorry about your loss. Maybe if you would please tell us some of your, childhood memories.
So growing up, you see, now we've moved from Thika to Shago. I know this sounds weird when I say some memories, but going to fetch water from shags, and then you have to go a group of kids, then come back early, and then going to fetch firewood again, and then going to farm. We had these groups of kids that we would decide that this time we are going to, like, on this weekend, we'll go to farm at your mother's shamba, and then the next week we'll go to ABCD's place. And then what your mother has to do is just to cook for us. In Kikamba, we call it mwethia. So I don't know what that is, what you can translate it to. But it's literally just a small groups of kids going to help each other in farming, something of that sort, which at that time was enjoyable. Yeah.
Beautiful. That was beautiful. And on to the next segment. Maybe you can please tell us more about your teenage life, now moving to, high school. And maybe here now you can mention your best subjects in high school.
In high school, life was really, I would say, kinda just there. Because you see, now you're a teenager, you're beginning to understand yourself, you're beginning to know, oh, kumbe, I'm now a woman and stuff. And then I first started at a very good school, a county school. It's called St. Asla. We used to call it TNT. From Form 1, I would say I was performing pretty well. Not that bad. And I think from high school, and maybe from primary school, I've been very good with social studies and English. And I think that moved forward to, CRE, history, and English. I would perform perfectly. And then I loved drama. I would act, by the way. And then I would go to dramas and stuff like that. So when I was in Form 2, another tragedy hit. At this time we had gone for dramas, and before then My mom was sick. So when we had gone for midterm, I went to the hospital. She was in a private hospital in Kitui. And then we talked, we prayed, and then I left her. And she promised me, you know what, by the time you close schools, you'll find me home. I think growing up, she was on and off, sometimes sickly, sometimes not. She had ulcers and a few things here and there. But this time it was tough. When I found her in hospital, like her whole neck was swollen and it was removing pus. And I looked at my mother and I felt it. I felt so bad because I had my pocket money, and then from my pocket money I had bought her some chips. Then going to see her in the hospital, oh man, she was looking very sickly. But she had promised me that I'd find her home. So I had some hope. And then before I went for the dramas, for the competition, I had talked to her on Wednesday on a phone call. That time she had already been discharged. She was at home. And then she had told me, she used to call me Mama. She had told me, Mama, I'm doing well. I've even taken a jug of porridge and I'm doing great. So in my head, I was like, oh, my mommy is getting well. She's doing well. But now something didn't seem right. She started telling me about her M-Pesa PIN, about where our birth certificates are, about where a lot of stuff are. So I'm wondering, why would she start telling me? I'm the second born, and why would she tell me those things? But then I asked her, Mommy, why are you telling me all these things? And then she was like, no. It's good when your children, at least even one, knows where your things are. It's good to be open. So in my head, I was like, oh, my mom wants us to know. But in my heart, I wasn't okay. I was feeling like, no. Something, you can feel it in your heart. But I think she knew something and she didn't know how to say it because her tone sounded very different. And then she told me, no, I love you. And then I was like, you barely even say that. Why would you even tell me that? And I love you with your siblings and stuff. But anyway, in my head, I was like, it's just a mother being a mother. But something in my spirit didn't sit right. And the entire night, especially around 4 to 5, I found it hard to sleep. I could barely sleep. I don't even know why. From around 3, 4 your time, I was sleepless. And then I was like, honey, what's up? But anyway, the following morning, we were going for dramas. And I was okay. I was going for, to play my role and stuff. So we left the entire team and we went to a certain school that we were supposed to present. During the day, I felt it in my heart, just go call your mom again because you talked to her. You're outside the school, so it's easier to access a phone, like from your drama teachers and stuff, especially if you have a good connection with them. So I talked to our teacher, and she for some reason, she wasn't giving me the phone. And then I was like, why is she even not giving me the phone? Then I told her, I want to talk to my mom. She was like, do you need money? She gave me 1,000 bob. I was like, why would you give me money? I just said I want to talk to my mom. And in my head, something was not right. I was just feeling like, that there's something wrong somewhere. So we did our dramas and we came back. So when we came back, we went to eat because we came around 9-ish, 8, 9-ish, 10-ish, around somewhere there. And then I was told, you're being called, your uncles are here. I'm like, huh? Yeah, your guardians are here. They came to see you. I'm like, why would they come to see me at night? But then the teacher told me, you were in drama, so they decided to wait for you because they came to see you. And I was like, it's fine. Let me go and see them. So I went and saw them, and I was told, like, go and pack. We are going home. I'm like, we are going home? They told me, you know what? Your mom has gotten well, and we were going to see her. So we decided to pick you and go with you because your school is just along the way. I said, yeah, okay. But when I got in the car, in my guardian's car, one of my cousins was seated at the farthest corner, and he didn't talk to me. He didn't even greet me. He looked down, like it's kind of like he was in his own world, and he's one of the bubbliest people I know. So I was like, why would he look like this? But anyway, I was like, it's fine. So he went. But now when we are like a few kilometers from home, my uncle got out of the car, and then he talked to a phone call, or maybe pretended, I'm not sure. And then he came back and told me, pastor has just called us, and your mother has just passed on. Your mother has just died. I was like, I talked to this person just the other day. I talked to my mom just the other day. I had talked to her personally. Like, not, it's not that I had heard or anyone had told me.
It's okay.
I'm so sorry. So I was like, I had just talked to my mom, and she had told me she's fine. How come she's gone? And he told me, it's fine, we are going to be here. And I think from that point, anything anyone said in my head, I could not hear. We got home, I found my sister, I found my cousin there, and everybody, everything. Like, I would look at that home, everything looked deserted. Everything in that place didn't make sense. I was looking at it and I'm wondering, Mom, you, for some time, I think that side time I was mad at her, because I was like, Mom, you promised me that when I come from school, when we close schools, I'll find you home. You barely, yesterday I talked to you and you told me that you will be okay. And you told me that you're telling me your secrets so that I can know. How come now you're gone? Why didn't you even tell me then if you knew you would go? You know? And I remember when, the entire process when you were doing the burial, when I saw, I think I was still in denial. I was like, my mom will still wake up and come to me. She cannot go. But you see, when that time comes, and then now the coffin has to be removed from the house, it hit me. And that time that you now have to go and take the body, and now you have to bury it hit me that literally she's gone. She will never come back. And it was tough. It was tough. It was very tough. I think at some point I fainted. Yeah. And it was the toughest thing. I would never even wish it on my enemy. I would never. Now that I'm a mom, I wouldn't wish it on anyone. But I mean, it's life, right? It has its own ups and downs. No one tells you, and yeah, it's life. So, and I now had to go back to school. Going back to school, everything was different, because now I joined that school with my mother. Now I've gone back to school as a completely different person, as an orphan, no mother, no father, and everything changed. And now a certain tragedy happened after some time. Our school got banned the first time. Then we had to be, like, literally everything got banned for the first time. Now we had to be shopped for, from uniform to everything, to shoes, to nini, to books again. Then we went back to school. I think after some 2-3 months again, it got burnt down. Our dormitory got burnt down again. And then my guardians were like, this time it burnt from around 5. Immediately after we had just gone for morning practice, they were like, the next time this thing is happening, you guys might even be burnt in there and we will lose you. I had, I had kept a very long, beautiful hair. So now I had to move to another school in Charles. That means I had to shave, which was very hard because I had grown that hair like a baby and I loved my hair. So we had to move back to, I had to move back to Shags, to a mixed school. It's called Ngungi. It's still in Shags, a mixed boarding school. It's both boarding and day. And yeah, life was very different because again, even there, we still had to go and fetch water from the river. And now that was worse because now you have to go with a 20-liter jerrycan to fetch every time. And well, it was tough. So I did my KC. I joined that in I think form 3. Yeah. So I had to repeat form 3 again. So I went form 3, form 4. So yeah. I remember someone made fun of me. Someone told me, the rest of your mates are going to school for 4 years. You're going like a presidential term, 5 years. So you and the president, you have no difference. Like you're going for the same term. But anyway, it's life. So I schooled from form 2 to no form 3, yeah, form 3 to form 4. Yeah, until I finished my form 4, I was in that school. A very humbling experience as well, I would say. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Paris. Maybe you can mention your best subjects as well. And I'm so sorry about everything. That was not easy for sure. Now, after high school, maybe you can take us through how was your life like without mom and dad?
Wow. So I would say my best subjects were English and history. I remember there was a time I did my history exam, and the teacher gave me a 98%. And then I was like, why did you give me a 98%? I don't see anything wrong. And then he was like, you didn't put full stop here and you didn't put comma here. I'm like, how is that even a mistake? He's like, I cannot give you 100% just because you got everything. I have to make sure one or two things go wrong. So I was just looking for a mistake. And then English, I literally had the badge. And in high school, I had a very good friend. She's still a friend up to date. She's called Grace Kalanza. She had also moved from Kathiani, a very good school, to that school. So I think we used to comfort each other because life was not lifing. Yeah. So we were very good friends with her. And then I think we would literally, because even in our index numbers, she was in index 5, I was index 6. So we would literally compete. Today, if I go with the English badge, tomorrow she carries it. Like the next time she'll carry it. I was so good in English that at some point, our English teacher gave me the set books. I was very good with set books. So I was literally teaching the entire class about the set books. That time we were doing The River and the Source, Betrayal in the City. Yeah. So our teacher would literally tell me, take them through. It was me, I knew. Then I would literally teach them, like when we have the English lesson, me, I'll go there and then take them through it. That's how good I was. And yeah, that was a beautiful thing. About now, life after high school. It was tough because now remember, you're trying to figure out this adulting thing. You've never been an adult in your life, it's your first time. And then you also don't have a parent that you can go back to ask. There are sometimes when the math is not mathing, you're like, hi mommy, how do I do this? Hi dad, how do I do this? In a natural setting. So that was tough, extremely tough, because you have to find yourself without guidance, literally without the mom and dad, kind of a thing. So with the help of my guardians, they helped me choose a course, so which I actually loved. Funny enough, we had talked with my friend Grace before our KCSE time, and then we had said that I would love to do ABCD, and then I told her I would love to do pastry and things like catering. And then when I talked with my guardians, that's what they suggested. It was beautiful, and I joined Amboseli Institute. It's in Thika, which was also different because I don't know why. For some reason, people think, well, some think I'm a Kikuyu, others think I'm a Kamba, others think I'm a Taita. Like, I get that a lot. So, which was different because when I was in Thika, people would literally talk to you in Kikuyu. Then when you don't answer, they'll make sure they abuse you, like they send words to you, to tell you words in Swahili, so that you understand what we are telling you. Like, why are you denying your language? So they literally thought I'm a Kikuyu, which was okay because I learned some few Kikuyus languages here and there. So my college life was a bit tough again, because learning these things, we are used to cooking food just the normal way. So learning to do it the professional way was a bit tough. But the most beautiful thing, I'd say, there was a healthy friendship. Like, I had a healthy relationship with my colleagues and with my fellow students. It was nice. And when I finished my coursework, like, according to our institution, so you finish your coursework, then you go for internship. They literally, they give you a choice if you want them to source for you, and then you go, or you source for yourself, which is up to you. So they gave me they give you the option, and then after, now when you've gone for the internship and you're back, now then you can get to do the final exam and then graduate. Yeah. So I did my, the exam that you do before you go for internship, which I did very well. And I think I was very good in practicals, because literally the lecturers liked me. So they put in a good one for me. So I had been chosen among a few other members of our class to go for internship to either Rwanda or Uganda and other parts of of Africa. But then I think the institution sat down and they were like, hey, if we send ladies, things might happen kina za Waramba. So they decided, you know what, let the guys go, but we'll make sure you guys go to one of the best hotels in the country. So after the exam, which I did very well, I think even my invigilator loved it. Like, the food that I cooked, she was like, would you please pack some food for me? I take it to my daughter. I really love your food. And that was nice. So I moved to the institution, our school now, offered me to go to, like, they put my name to go to, what is it called, Sarova hotels. But you see, for you to go to any Sarova branch, you have to do an interview with them, and then now they place you to one of their Sarovas, or I don't know how they do it, but you have to do an interview with them from the HQ. So I had to do an interview. So I went to Sarova Pan-Afric. We were a couple of us. Hey, that thing like, kind of intimidated me, because you go there, you find people from Italy, from Boma, and then you're like, hey, me, I'm from a school that when you say Amboseli, they're like, is it along your way to Mombasa? You're like, no, it's in Thika. You mean there's a school called Amboseli in Thika? But anyway, who is God? So when I went you were a lot, people went for the interview, and then my turn came. I met this lovely lady there, and then she interviewed me. And I think she just liked me, or would I call it favor? And that was my first ever interview. I had never done an interview. And I remember before, there's this teacher who, till today, she's a good friend of mine. She's Madam Eunice. That lecturer, I like her. I had asked her, so what if I go and I'm asked to choose one of the Sarovas to go to? Suppose they don't just place you and they just ask you to choose one. Where would you love me to choose? She told me, choose Sarova White Sands. It's in Mombasa. I'm like, why? She's like, there you'll get to understand a lot of cuisines, because there you're serving a lot of people, and then you'll also get to have a different view of life along the coast. You see the beaches and stuff, and you get to understand a lot of things, which will be very, very beautiful. I was like, nice. And then the lady that was interviewing me, after asking me the questions and the interview was over, she asked me, if I'm to give you a choice, which of our Sarovas would you love to go? I said, I would love to go to Sarova White Sands. It's in Mombasa. And she asked me, have you ever been to Mombasa? I was like, no, I have never been to Mombasa. And why are you saying Sarova White Sands in Mombasa? I told her, because I think it's an amazing hotel, 5-star hotel. She was like, that's where I'll take you. I'm like, because when you go to an interview, they always tell you we'll get back to you. And she told me, that's where I'll send you. And then she told me, she asked me, do you know where you can stay? Do you have an accommodation or somewhere you can stay? I said no, but I can sort myself. If I get the chance, I think accommodation won't be a problem. She was like, it's okay. We have servants, we have a place that we can give you as the, the hotel. You can stay there for like a month as you sort yourself, as as you even get familiar with, Mombasa and everything, because it's your first time. I was like, no, it's not a problem. I'll sort myself. And that was so beautiful. So me, when I was already getting, she told me, so I'll give you 1 week to prepare. Please make sure that you get to Mombasa after 1 week. I'll keep you posted because there's a training that happens so that you won't miss the training. But with the rest that we will choose from your group, we'll call you back to this Sarova, like the HQ, the Sarova Pan-Afric, and then give you, an overview of what Sarova is and blah, blah, blah. And then from there, we can send you now. And I was shocked. Like that's just like that. I have gotten the chance, and Hivo too. When we were going home with the rest of the students, like when we were going back to school, everybody was like, me, I don't know whether I'll get the chance. Me, I've even given up. I personally knew, like I was even sure, me, I've already gotten the chance. I know where I'm going. I knew, but now you cannot tell the rest of the students, because that's it will look like you're bragging. How did you even know, or did you have connections or something like that? So it was beautiful, going back. Everybody was scared. Like I think after like 2-3 days, everybody was like, have you gotten your notification? Have they said anything? Me, I'm relaxed. I know I'm already going to Sarova White Sands, but now you cannot show people. You also act surprised. But I think that's God's hand, leading you. And it was a beautiful thing to get chosen. And then we came back after some days and did we were given the instructions and blah blah blah. And then it was my time to go now to Mombasa. I had never been to Mombasa. So I called one lady friend of mine from Shanks, and I was like, because she knows Mombasa. I think her entire life she has lived there. And I was like, how does this thing work? She told me she'll direct me all along the way, because I had to travel through the night. So I took Coast Bus. Don't know whether Coast Bus is still operating right now, but that time Coast Bus was Coast Bus. So I boarded Coast Bus to Mombasa. Then nikashukishwa hapo Mwembe Tayari. I was looking at it, I'm like, I always see people saying Mwembe Tayari. So this is Mwembe Tayari, because I got there in the morning. And a friend came to pick me up and took me to her place. She gave me breakfast, and then she was like, sleep for like an hour as you go to your cousin's place, because I was supposed to go to my cousin's place, but it was a bit early. So I slept at her place for like an hour, and then now went to my cousin's place. Yeah, like later in the day. Yeah.
Beautiful. You've reminded me of Coast Bus, Mwembe Tayari, and all that, yeah? Now, maybe Paris, you can tell us, now you've arrived in Mombasa. How was life in the coast?
Shock on me. Mombasa is kind of different, very different. In this sense, things move slow. I would say that, like everything is slow. You'll go to a shop very early in the morning, you're going to buy breakfast, and then the lady's like, nenda kwa mama Rehema, mi bado nenda kwa mama Rehema na kuna nazi. You're like, I came to shop from your place, I'm actually buying from you, you're pushing me to go there. And then there are these people, Mateja. I didn't know. These people, you find they have dragged themselves, they're just like this. You look at them, you're like, okay. But I don't think they're harmful. They literally don't hurt people. They just enjoy their life. I think life in Mombasa is quite different. And it feels, have you ever gone to a place and you feel, finally. It feels very free, very relaxed. But let me tell you, the sun there is not a joke. Because it's, like in the middle of the night, you literally want to go and shower cold water because you can't even sleep. The weather is it's not even a joke, but it's a good place. But fitting in, I think pia was different because most of the Coastarians speak very deep. So for me, that time sounded like deep Swahili. So someone would tell you something, and then you're like, when you ask time, and then when you ask, when would you like to meet me, and then they say, takuja kesho alfajiri. You're like, which one is alfajiri now? I have to use my Google well, you know. But it's a nice place. Mombasa is good. Then we did our that 1 week training where you're taught about what is, like, you're taught about the entire institution, and then the courtesy, what you're supposed to do, what you're not supposed to do, like the boundaries, like literally it's the do's and don'ts of the institution, right? Then that time I was living at my cousin's place, and I had to walk, not to literally walk, but I had to board a matatu from Twapa to Mombasa, to not Mombasa, to Sarova White Sands. Sarova White Sands is in Bamburi, so it's literally like Kilifi to Mombasa, because Mtwapa is more of Kilifi than Mombasa. But it's a good experience. Then peer understanding the guests. But you know, it was so beautiful working there. So there's I got to meet the HR, but not because I wanted to. So the guests would come and say, like when when they're putting in a good word, they're giving the review of the company, then they would say, we loved the smiler, or this lady called Paris, she would smile so nice. So I think the HR was interested. Who is this lady who smiles nice? Because I'm a trainee that time. And then she called me. So that's how I got to meet the HR, and then we became very good friends. And then even as I was still training, I won the Stars of Sarova. The Stars, that means like you're the most preferred by the guests. Now that's not your colleagues, like, or the workmates. And it was beautiful. And then getting the tips. That was the first time I got a different currency, and then I was like, how does this work? When you go to bank, you change, and and it's a beautiful thing. Then I performed very well during my internship, the first 3 months, and they liked it. And I talked to one of the chefs, the head chefs, and one of the HR, and they were like, you can continue for 3 more months, and we give you a job. So when my lecturer came to see, after 3 months, the lecturers come to visit what you're doing, to understand, everything, what is happening. And they were happy. They were like, it's okay, I'll talk to the school, you continue. And the school agreed, and I had to continue for now 3 more months. So that means my training would not be for 3 months, it would be for 6 months. Then they told me, when you're done, we'll give you a job, which was beautiful. Because after the 3 months, I think in my 4th month, I was already working in a restaurant called Minazi at the pizzeria alone. That's beautiful. So I would do everything alone. And then now, with all that, now Corona hit. When Corona hit, everything came crumbling down. Have you ever seen when kids arrange the blocks to a certain point, and then just at a touch of one block, everything else falls down? That's how life felt. Like everything else came crumbling down. Hivyo kila kitu ikaisha. And now Sarova was closed, because now there are no guests who are coming, and the guests who are in the hotel cannot go out. And then now there's lockdown. They can't even travel. You can't even travel. And again, the kazi imepungua, so you have to sort yourself. And now I had to leave. I was living with my cousin back then, and I think because we were sharing bills at some point. Well, she was carrying most of it, but I was also chipping in. I found it so hard. How do I tell her, I'm living in your place? How do I tell you that now kazi imeisha? So I would wake up very early in the morning, ni kama naenda job. I would clean up, put on clothes, carry my handbag. It's kind of like I'm going to work. And then when she leaves, I also leave, like I'm going for my shift. But now I would go to a friend's place and stay there. Because I was like, how do I tell her I'm not working? How do I sit here, jobless? Then you come in the evening and you find me here in your house, jobless. And I was afraid of maybe the response. What will she say? And she didn't know. Actually, she didn't know. She thought I was still working. I was still going there, but I wasn't. And I put on that character for quite some time. Until I started now volunteering for a certain bakery that was paying me 300 per week. So you can imagine you're being paid 300. You have bills to pay. You're still a young girl who still wants to look nice. You know there are still people who are expecting you to send something to them, and the bills are not billing. And again, it was not a sure bet, because remember, you're volunteering, so that means she can or she cannot pay you. So if she won't pay you, you can't blame her, because you came in to volunteer. And then we had a fallout with my cousin, so we separated. Now I had to go to a friend's place. Her name is Judy Mito, and I'm so grateful to God that I had her as a friend, because she took me in like a sister. Like, that person who covers every shame. She did that. She would literally make sure I look nice. Like, we would buy nails. She would make sure my nails are done. I remember because we used to be in the praise and worship team. Remember, there's this guy who came and told her, I like your friend, but she seems so expensive. And that the guy doesn't even know that this lady, is even jobless. But I think it's the grace. So that season was very tough for me, because I just thought I had not even experienced anything of that sort. And then I'm like, now I thought things were going well, life is perfect, I've gotten this job, but no, this thing is not working. Now you're jobless. Your goals feel like every goal you had has crashed. Now you don't even know where to go. The Mombasa thing is not Mombasa-ing anymore. You don't even think about the beaches anymore, because you're like, what will you go to do at the beach? What are you going to do? But I had a friend who came through with another hotel called Haverton. It's still in Mombasa. And what the guy did, he connected me. Then I met with the owner, the lady. And I think it's God's favor, because when I met the lady, she literally didn't look at my papers. She was like, we were two ladies. We met at a certain hotel there. And then she was like, I like you. Let me go and show you where my hotel is. And she went and showed us. She told me, you'll be working here. I have already hired you. I'm like, you've not even read my papers. She was like, no, I like you. I think you're a good person. And that lady just, for some reason, loved me to some point that, to a point that even the entire colleagues were like, hey, are you not sure you're not related with the owner? I was like, no. So that also helped. But again, it was not helping that much, because I think I was being paid 8 to 10K. And then now I'm living with my friend, and then there are bills to pay, right? And at some point, sometimes they don't, the pay is not that much if the place is not busy. Sometimes you're not called, because you see, the problem with working with hotels, I don't know how that can be fixed, but they have this thing called casuals. So the casuals means they'll call you only when they are busy. So you can imagine, if they're not busy for an entire month, what will you do? They won't call you, because they won't even pay you. There's no job. So I think that is the problem. And it was tough, but again, very eye-opening as well. Yeah, and I learned a lot. I learned how to be patient with myself, how to, to navigate some seasons of life, because remember, again, I have no one else to go and cry to. So if you feel like crying, you just cry alone and you move on. Yeah, but Mombasa was a good place, but the greatest eye-opener that helped me understand a few things here and there.
All right. So, Paris, all this time, when all these things are happening, I believe 6 months have now gone. Now, what happened to your academics since you went to Mombasa for an internship?
Now, I would say I had this dream. You see, when I was going to Mombasa, I think I had even, you see, that I'm the kind of a person who notes down. I love writing. So if I desire something or I want something, write it down. Sorry, I'll write it down in a notebook or something. So I'd written it down that I want to be this big chef, this big short chef. I loved pastry and cold kitchen. I didn't love hot kitchen because that is very tough for me. I felt like hot kitchen is not. But I loved pastry because I think pastry is very creative and I love creativity, something that bursts my mind. And I loved cold kitchen, playing with the smoothies. How do you present them? How do you make the fruits and stuff like that? So I had this image in my head of this chef that I wanted to become. So I would say after Sarova, after everything started coming down now. And the chef dream in me was still burning. I want to be a chef. I want to be a chef. So remember, I had not cleared my school because remember I told you I would do it. I had done my final exam, but I had not done the final one that you graduate, right? So I was supposed to go back and do the exam, and I was in Mombasa. I was working at Harvard on that time. I remember when I talked to the manager, that by that those people didn't pay me some money that was supposed. It's okay. They were supposed to pay me, but they didn't pay me. But anyway, it's okay. I was not even there. I had left. So I talked to him and I was like, I have to go back to Nairobi because now I had talked to my guardians. And I was like, I want to go back to school and finish school. Because again, I wanted to have papers. In my head, I wanted to be this head chef that would make headlines. At that time, I think there was this story of a certain chef who was trending from Kempiski. Yeah, and she was a lady. So wanted that. I had seen her interview and I was like, this can be me. So I wanted to go back to school. Because now remember it's after Corona. Then now the schools have been opened. So you have to go back to school and finish your exams to graduate. So I talked to my guardians and they were like, it's okay. You can come back to Nairobi and we'll take you back to school so that you can do your exam and graduate. So I came back to Nairobi to pursue what I wanted. Yeah.
Now you've come back to Nairobi. How did it go? Did it go like, as you had planned? Yeah, how did it go?
Wow. I would say it didn't really go as I had planned.
Mm-hmm.
In my head, I wanted to be this chef, right? And I had planned that I'm coming back to graduate. When you want something that bad, it starts at your mind. Like in your head, you've already visualized everything. You have that thing already in your head. So I had already visualized how I'll graduate, how I'll wear that, graduation gown, how I'll go and kill it in the exam room. Hey, who is me from Sarova? Do you know me, guys? So I knew it. Like I was like, I'm Unishiki. So I had that passion. I really had that passion. So I came back and I wanted to go back to school, and my guardians had promised to take me back to school and blah blah blah. But now it didn't go that like I thought. I don't know, for some reason, maybe they thought I had some money somewhere. They were like, how much do you have? We top you up, you go back to school. I felt like in my head, I told them I had nothing, and in my head I'm like, I'm just from Corona. Where will I even have the money? I'm just from training. But I think maybe they had a certain mindset or something, it's something you cannot tell. And that thing broke me. That time this song by Ada, congratulations, you have seen the glory of God. Hey, I literally wanted to sing that song as I wear my graduation gown. Oh my God. I had that, that kind of feeling. Yeah, for that song. I felt it. But now the dreams were shattered and everything died. Because how do you come, like I don't know, how do you get your mind to come from that high place that you had thought you would be, or that you had imagined yourself, to coming into terms that you might never even finish this school that you like so much, and you might never even get to wear that graduation gown. It hit me so badly. I think that is a desire that up to date I really desire. Up to date I really desire to go back and wear that graduation gown and finish my academics and get my certificate like this, because I loved it. But now financially it didn't happen, and up to date I have never graduated because I didn't have that money and um, the opportunity to go back. I think it's still there up to now. I would really love to go back and graduate. I love that. I love cooking. From my heart, it's something that I don't have to think. I love playing around with those cuisines and stuff. I would love to go back and graduate. I would love to go back and finish school from my heart. I would love to see myself in that gown. When I see these clips, I think it still traumatizes me. When I see these clips of people graduating, wearing their graduation gowns, oh my God, that thing scares me. It breaks me. I feel so bad. I'm like, I could also be like them. I desire. That thing that you desire, like you dream of, is going back to see myself finish my academics and get to graduate and have something to show for it. There's nothing as good as I went to this school, I did this. Like when you go to primary school and you finish, you get your certificate when you get your KCSE results, right? You feel good. So when I went to college, I pursued the thing that I really dreamed about, the thing that I really loved, the thing that I really envisioned, and then I don't get the chance to graduate. That thing breaks me up to now. Even as I'm speaking it, I can tell you, I feel bad. I desire like deeply to graduate. If there's something that I've really fought for, is that thing, going back to school and graduate. I have really done that, and I just desire to just have the finances enough to get me through with it.
Mm-hmm. Maybe if I can take you back a little bit.
Yes.
Now, your guardians have told you to come to Nairobi.
Yes.
Now, what happened? Have they taken you back to school? Or now, what happened after you've landed here? And now, what did you get yourself into? What was the next step? Now, after you've realized you're not going back to, to the college, what did you get to do as your next, maybe a job or something like that?
I'd say when I came back, we had discussed about something. So because I was just supposed to go back and do my exams and graduate, so they were like, you can come and work at our place, because they own a few businesses. So I came and started working at the restaurant as a cashier and a waitress as well. And then after some time moved to the supermarket. So in my head, I knew this was going to happen. I was going back to school. But when now the math didn't math and I could not go back to school, I had to deal with it that way. So I think along the way, I met someone and we started dating. And, it seemed so nice. And in my heart, I was like, at least I have this one hope to lean on. I have someone that loves me enough, to be proud of me. That is what I at least thought in my head, because I loved him and I believed he loved me. So I was in my head, you know what? The school might not have made it. I desire, even now, I still desire to go back to school. And I think that thing has dealt with me to a point that I at some point, I struggled with the thought of accepting myself as a person who is worth anything in life, because I was like, you don't even have papers. That thing. And I have heard that there are a couple of people who would tell me, you don't even have papers. And I remember someone told me, sir, why do you think you can go in this life? You don't even have papers. So that thing hit me, and still hits me up to date. And when I met this guy, I gave it my all, and I was very happy in my head, because I thought, you know what, this is one thing to remain at least hopeful for, that it's not just going to end like that. And at least someone loves me. And things took a very dark twist when I ended up getting pregnant. And this guy looked at me and denied the pregnancy. He did not deny the pregnancy because he thought it was not his. He denied the pregnancy because I think he didn't want anything to do with it. He just, for whatever reasons that are best known to him, he just decided that, you know what, I don't want anything to do with you and whatever thing you're carrying, the baby. And that thing broke me. Have you ever had a wound and then someone scratches that wound when it's nearly healing and then takes you back to the same pain that you felt that day? I felt like this dude just took a knife and then went directly to the place that I had that wound that was badly hurting and was kind of healing, and then decided to tear it apart. The first wound is that I don't have my papers, I've not graduated. And then the second wound is that this guy has just decided, you're now pregnant, I want nothing to do with you. I felt so bad. I felt like, like something cut so deep in me. I felt like he took my heart and then decided to turn it into mincemeat or something of that sort. Okay. Hello PMN family, how have you guys been? I hope you've been fine. We are doing well.
Nilikuwa nakwambia sauti iko sawa, god damn it.